Nothing really compares to the feeling of getting the audience to shudder.
There is no more interesting filmmaker in mainstream Hollywood today, if you ask me, than Jordan Peele. He became famous on the sketch comedy show Key and Peele. He then went on to break box office records and win an Oscar for Get Out.
Sink into the floor. Wait. Sink.
And now his brand new horror movie, Us, is... Well, I haven't slept since I saw it, so I think that means it's good. Hey, Jordan, lovely to meet you.
Lovely to meet you.
So, as I understand it, you knew by around about the age of 13 that you wanted to be a director.
Yes, I loved film so much that it hurt.
And so there was a point at which where you didn't think it was going to happen. Is that right?
Yeah.
What happened?
I think part of it was the subconscious feeling that as a black artist, there wasn't room in such a competitive industry. I also think that there was a great feel of failure, that if I tried and failed, it would devastate me. So the easier path was to go a different way. The laughter. I followed the laughter.
I've brought here my anger translator, Luther. Hi.
You know, if you look at scary movies and you look at comedy, that involuntary reaction from an audience, it's something they have in common. Do you remember the first time that you had the power to tell a scary story and to get a reaction from people?
Yes, there was a transformative moment where I told a scary story at a class trip where we went overnight into the woods. I was probably like 12, 13, terrified of the dark still. Even though I was a fan of movies, I'd watch horror movies and then I'd creep myself out.
That is an unhealthy obsession right there.
That is the definition of an unhealthy obsession. When I told this story, I just remember everyone going, oh, and this collective shudder. And it gave me power. And from that moment, I remember I walked what felt like half a mile alone through the dark woods. And it was something that, before I had told that story, I never would have been able to do.
Next thing we're going to do after this shot is the whole walk over and your reaction to her saying sit.
Just feel free to tell me if this is bad pop psychology, right? But is there an element of what you're doing now that is chasing that or replicating that on a bigger and bigger scale?
Yes. That moment was a release of all my fears. I realized that the only way to battle the unpleasantness of my own nightmares was to become one of the monsters, right? I mean, to be able to wield fear gives me an amazing strength.
I've heard you use the description that horror is the ultimate outsiders genre. And I'm wondering if you could kind of explain what that means for you.
I don't know exactly what it means for me, but I will try.
Sure.
As I have been known to bullshit my way through life.
Me too. It's television. That's what we do, right?
You know, when we talk about monsters and monster movies, there is a fascination with characters that are outcasts, but also the fact that they're an outcast is connected to their power. We as human beings are in a period of immense fear of the outsider, fear of the other. This movie poses the notion that what if the invading force that we are so afraid of has our face?
I feel like it means like she's getting closer.
Was there a moment when the idea of being another became real to you, when the concept was not just an abstract concept and you're like, actually, I identify with that?
When I was 6 years old, you know, they give you a standardized test. One of the first questions they ask, you know, a 6-year-old is, what race are you? Caucasian, African American, Asian, Pacific Islander, Native American, Hispanic, or other. Now, I have a white mom and a black dad, so I would put other. Yeah. I think that was the sort of beginning of it on a cultural, racial level, is this idea of, wow, I don't fit into any of the boxes that actually have names. I didn't fit into the boxes that the world was telling me I was supposed to fit in.
I'm half Indian, half Irish, and I've been ticking other boxes for 33 years. I feel that completely.
You found each other.
We did, all of us, in a room together at this exact moment.
You know, when we're a teenager and all that, and we feel the most isolated. I did. Felt, I had friends, but still felt kind of like an alien or like someone who was misunderstood. The more and more I'd be drawn to stories that explore the power of the other side, the dark side.
Mine is a terrible thing to waste. Terrible thing to waste.
When I started writing Get Out, I was in a state of great fear, low in my life, and these projects have dug me out of that darkness.
And so when you're standing up the back of a cinema and you watch an audience watching Get Out or watching Us, and you see them leap with fear, is that a little moment where you feel like God for that one brief second?
I can tell, I've done, comedy for, over 15 years and gotten some great laughs. Nothing really compares to the feeling of getting the audience to shudder again. There's a mischievous pleasure. You will see me in the theater laugh if I get the audience on that level.
There's a lot of therapy that goes into this moment.
There's a lot, yeah, and I don't know, something about it is that I have less of an exact science for wielding fear, as I call it. It's more of an alchemy than comedy, which became almost mathematic at a certain point. Nothing beats hearing the audience be afraid and then giggle afterward.
Cut.
Thanks,
Jordan
man.
Peele, it was really lovely to talk to you.
You too, brother.
Thank you so much.
All right.